You're listening to Cattails, the podcast of SLC Faculty Local 417, your union connection. Each episode, we bring you real stories from our members, practical tips on your rights, and the kind of information that helps us all move forward.
Welcome back to Cattails. I'm your host, Julie White, and today we're getting right to the heart of what makes our local thrive, the people and the processes that protect our work. First, Local 417 President Christina Decarie joins us with a brief update on our January 29th General Membership Meeting. This is a key opportunity to select delegates for the Provincial OPSU Convention. It's a perfect entry point for anyone curious about getting more involved in your local. We'll also be reviewing bylaw amendments that formalize our status as a composite local. Then we'll transition into the 411 on the 417 and get a quick look at what the union is doing with its Equity Executive Board elections. Then our Get to Know Your Local Executive Committee feature with 417 Vice President Tabatha Rutledge. She's a veteran nurse and educator who spent 25 years at St. Lawrence. Known as the local's pinch hitter, Tabatha shares her journey from grieving her full-time role to becoming a leader in membership engagement. So let's get started with President Christina. It's fantastic to have you on the podcast again. And I know you've got some exciting news for us today and some things to mark our calendars.
Very exciting union things, of course. There are a couple of opportunities for members of the union, so not just stewards or members of the executive, but for any member. And remember that if you teach at St. Lawrence College, you are a member of the union. If you're part-time, if you're sessional, partial load, full-time, we are all part of the union now. And so we are eligible to participate in what can be very interesting and, dare I say, exciting learning opportunities with the union. So what's coming up is on March 21st, we have the regional meeting. And so that is Eastern Ontario region, Region 4, has a meeting in Ottawa. It's on a Saturday. It's one day. It's an amazing opportunity. Like if you're in person, an amazing opportunity to meet and greet, to get away and interact with people in it's just a different out of your everyday way. To learn more about the union, how it works, what its values are, what are the concerns for other locals in our region. But then, the big event, the big exciting event is convention. And that happens in Toronto at the Toronto Metropolitan Convention Centre. That is going to be April 9th, 10th, and 11th. And we can send delegates and observers and alternates. And a lot of us who are engaged with the union now, whether we are a very vocal and visible engagement like I am, to people who are engaged with the union but aren't necessarily a steward, but they're highly engaged in, say, committee work or project work, got excited about the union when they went to convention. And it is exciting. And for both regional and for convention, there's the option to attend virtually. So if you're curious about the union and what it is that we do, what are its values, and going in person and in a meeting hall with literally thousands of people is really exciting to you, great. If being in a big meeting hall with thousands of people makes your skin crawl, also great, because there's an online option as well. Okay. So there's different ways that you can participate. Also very exciting. And this is the big nerd in me coming out. This is a meeting. This is a meeting with motions and arguments and voting. And it's incredible to watch. The president of the union is JP Hornick, a very dynamic and charismatic leader and an exceptional chair of a meeting. So if you get excited about these kinds of things, as I do, to watch somebody run a meeting that has literally thousands of people in it, both in person and online, because the people online have the same rights to participate and to have access to information. And if they're a delegate and they have a vote, they have the right to vote. I mean, they have all the same rights, regardless of whether or not you're in there in person or online. And so to manage all of that, and to actually keep the day, moving quickly and business is getting done is fascinating. And then when you're at convention, you are interacting with people not just from our sector. You'll be sitting at a table with other people from Local 417 and Local 418, from the staff, the support staff local. We'll be sitting together, but we're surrounded by people who, are also from the college sector, but are from all kinds of sectors all over Ontario. And to learn about the issues and the concerns facing other regions. So maybe they're also college, but they're working in Northern Ontario, where it might be a 3-hour drive between campuses or between locals. And what restrictions does that place, or what challenges does that place on the operations of what you do? Or, a very small college that has a much smaller income base in order to support the activities that they do. And to learn about their challenges, also to learn about what they're doing differently that maybe we can learn from, what we're doing differently that they can learn from, what resources do we have that we can share, building that solidarity, building that sharing of information, and that all matters and it all helps us. So recently, Conestoga announced massive layoffs right before the break. And there was a call out for support from other locals because the stewards and the executive committee at Conestoga, there simply are not enough people to manage the volume of grievance hearings and meetings that they will need support with. So I know that you have volunteered, Julie. I saw you at that training, and I know that others of us have volunteered, but we build those relationships at convention. So when we do step forward to say, yes, I want to help, it's because we have this relationship that has been built. And of course, you're going to meet people from all different sectors. You're going to meet people from the LCBO. You're going to meet child and youth workers. It's everybody in the Ontario Public Service in Ontario. It's fascinating. It's really fascinating and exciting. And for those of us who do sit in meetings and, trying to get a lot of work done efficiently, it's fascinating to watch this kind of thing in order. And, and still maintain and support the values of the union of, inclusion and respect. So you can get a lot of work done efficiently and still include and respect everybody that you're working with. I think it's pretty cool.
It's a great way to watch how conflict gets dealt with.
Oh, there is conflict. Oh my gosh, there's times when I'm just like making popcorn. Like, no, I thought I had to go for a bathroom break, but I can't now because I can't leave. It's so interesting. And then as say a certain issue is being explored, because you have all of these different perspectives, it reveals perspectives that you never would have thought of on your own, right? So you might look at a motion to amend the Constitution, and your first reaction might be, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Why wouldn't we do that? And then you start to hear all the arguments for and against. And of course, it's complex. And there are perspectives that I otherwise would not have exposure to. And so it's a great opportunity to have your viewpoints and your perspective expanded in a way I don't know how else I would have had that opportunity. So we will be determining who will be attending regional and convention at our general membership meeting, which is Thursday, January 29th. In the evening, 7 p.m., there'll be a Zoom link shared as per usual. And we can talk more there about, the details and if people are interested. And then we vote on it because we all make our decisions together. And there are accommodations and travel and food are covered by the union. Childcare is covered should you need childcare. And in keeping with the union's values of inclusion, all kinds of accommodations are available, of course. And again, you don't have to go in person. You can attend virtually if that is what works for you for whatever reason.
All right. So that's one of the items that is coming up on the agenda for January 29th. We've also got an important change to be discussed for our bylaws as well.
Yeah, so we will be amending our bylaws to make sure that the bylaws do reflect the fact that we are now a composite local. So we are one local. We will eventually have two separate collective agreements, one collective agreement for partial load and full-time faculty, and one collective agreement for the part-time sessional faculty. That second collective agreement is not ready yet. That is still in pre-bargaining. And I think eventually in time, like over the years, the goal would be that we come together and have the same collective agreement. But the way the process works is that the part-time sessional people need to have their own collective agreement first. Then we can work towards combining them. In the meantime, we are a composite local. We work together. When we have our union meetings, there are people from all categories of employment working together. And we need to make sure that our bylaws reflect that, and that, the structure of our local makes sure that everyone is being represented fairly and equitably, recognized equitably, because we're all equal members in this union.
And the way that people can get the information again about how to join that Zoom session on January 29th is what?
That will be coming via the Friday Digest. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please visit slcfaculty.ca, slcfaculty, all one word, .ca. And you will see on the upper right-hand corner, there'll be a mailing list link. You can just click on that and subscribe. We send out a newsletter every Friday afternoon, and it will have the link and the details for the meeting. But the meeting is January 29th, 7 p.m. via Zoom. So you can at least block it off in your calendar.
Again, if they're unable to attend the session on the 29th and want to put their name forward, just reach out to one of the stewards or the executive.
Exactly. Just reach out to a steward or an executive. All of our contact information is on slcfaculty.ca, and you can just get your name in.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Christina. You are always a beacon of hope and excitement and a wealth of information for us. So thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
And now, the 411 on the 417.
Welcome back to another segment of the 411 and the 417. Today we're talking about something vital to the strength of our union: power, representation, and the upcoming elections for the provincial OPSU-SEFPO Equity Executive Board member seats. Now, OPSU-SEFPO is a massive family, 200,000 members strong, coming from every possible walk of life. But to truly have worker power, we have to ensure that the people that are making the big decisions actually look like the people that they represent. And that's where our equity seats come in. What are equity-deserving groups anyhow? So before we dive into how you can get involved, let's be clear about what we mean by equity-deserving groups. These are typically the communities that have historically faced and continue to face systemic barriers and discrimination. In our union, we've carved out specific seats to ensure these voices aren't just in the room, but are also leading at the executive board table. So there are 7 specific seats up for election, and they represent the Provincial Women's Committee, the Provincial Young Workers Committee, I believe the age is 35 and under, the Provincial Francophone Committee, the Indigenous Circle, the Rainbow Alliance, the Coalition of Racialized Workers, and the Disability Rights Caucus. So if you identify with one of those groups, you're going to want to make sure that you're registered to cast your ballot to vote on February 4th. I'll share a little bit more about that process in a minute. So how does this whole thing work? This is the important part. You don't need to hold a current elected office to run. So you don't need to be a steward. You don't need to be actively involved in the union yet. If you're a member of one of those equity deserving groups, so if you're a young worker, if you're a woman, or you know someone who is, and you believe that that person would be a fierce advocate for the community at the board table, then they're eligible. And this is about lived experience and passion to make our union more inclusive. We need your participation to make it work. So in terms of the deadlines, first, to nominate, head over to the OPSEU website right now. The deadline to nominate someone is January 26th. Okay, so OPSEU, opseu.org. Scroll down and you will see a button there for the equity board member seats. And then you need to also register. So if you identify with any of those groups, you need to register to vote by February 4th. So if you want to have your voice heard, you need to go to the website, fill out the participation form so that you're eligible to cast your ballot. Voting is going to happen electronically between February 5th and 10th. Our union is only as strong as its members. So by filling out that form or nominating a colleague, you're ensuring that the voice at the table actually sounds like you. Let's make this union stronger together.
And now it's time for another edition of Member Spotlight.
I'm excited to welcome one of our longest-serving members of the LEC today for our profile feature. Welcome, Vice President Tabatha Rutledge. Are you ready for the rapid fire, Tabatha?
Yes, I am. Let it go.
All right. I've got 10 randomly selected questions here for you. Would you rather have your dream job or win the lottery?
Dream job. I don't mind hard work, and I actually enjoy my job, and I get a lot of personal satisfaction from it. It sounds superstitious, but I'm a little afraid to win the lottery because of statistics of people having health issues within 5 years.
Too much pressure.
Yeah.
All right. One skill you wish you had.
I wish I was more creative, like Christina Chrysler.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
I like all music, but I think I've only done karaoke a few times, and it was Shania Twain. Man, I feel like a woman. I think it was. I didn't do a very good job.
It said karaoke. I didn't say that you'd win a singing competition with.
I would not, but I get an A for effort.
All right. Do you cannonball into a pool or do you dip your toe in first?
I cannonball.
Would you rather travel to the future or to the past?
The past, so that maybe I could make some changes. I don't regret my past at all, but maybe there was a way I could help more people if I knew better what I know now.
Good. Book, movie, or scrolling memes until 2 a.m.?
A book. I'm a bit of a bookworm, but I do like to scroll too. Mind numbing, but I'm a bookworm.
Okay. You're usually working at 2 a.m. Who's kidding who?
Yeah, okay. I was actually on my screen, working actually last night.
Hidden talent or hobby most colleagues don't know about?
Many people do know that I have horses, so I get quite a bit of stress relief from doing like barn chores, like shoveling manure, throwing hay. I feel very at peace then.
Good. What do you wish that you'd learned sooner?
Mel Robbins has a podcast as well, and it's Let It Be. So you can't make people do things. You just have to let it be, and you only can control your own actions, not others.
Finish the sentence. The way to my heart is
through time. I enjoy time with the people I care about. I don't need their money. I don't need things, material things. I just enjoy spending time with them.
Beautiful. And what was your favorite TV show growing up?
I really liked Fraggle Rock. And I say that because I tell my students sometimes the theme song to Fraggle Rock, dance your cares away, worries for another day type of thing.
Yep.
And it makes things light.
You survived the rapid fire round. Well done.
Thank you.
We got a nice little look into your psyche. Basically, what we'd like to do is to talk a little bit about your journey into teaching, why you do it, what you get out of it, and then to talk a little bit about your union role after that. So are you good to start with kind of how you found your way into teaching at St. Lawrence?
I was working in Northbrook at a nursing home, working a day shift, and Kathleen Kennedy came in to check on a PSW student, and the student was doing fantastic. When I'm always very proud of our grads, and the student was in their consolidating phase. And I said, well, I've really been interested in getting into teaching, and wondered how I could do that. And she said, well, send me your resume. And she passed it on, and there was an emergency kind of fit that a space they needed filled. So that was Friday, and I think I started Monday.
Wow.
With a key to the photocopier room, the labs, and the bathroom, telling me where the bathroom was, and a stack of papers. So that's how I started, and then worked partial load and sessional for many years, and then got my full-time position.
So how many years ago did you start?
It was before I had my first daughter, so that would have been in 2000.
Been there for 25 years in one capacity or another.
Yes, it's been a long journey.
Seen a lot of change over that time.
I have some good, some I wish would have gone a different way. Change is inevitable, but I try to roll with the punches where I can. I continue to nurse in the community, so I work at a nursing home about 15 minutes from my house. That's where I started my career. And I went back there to update my skills relating to what's called an EMAR, so electronic medication administration record sheets, because we'd gone to computerized documentation, but it was a new one that I hadn't. And I was teaching pharmacology in the practical nursing program. And I wanted to make sure I was showing the students the best information and avoid pitfalls and things. So I went there to, say, hey, do you mind? I knew the staff, and I said, do you mind if I do some training? And they said, well, we have a position open. And I'm like, that's how I started. And that was before COVID. And I'm still there casual. So, working the shifts on weekends and over the summer when I'm on vacation has been great for keeping my skills up. Plus I love nursing. I don't teach because I avoid nursing. I just thought it was a way of helping mentor the new generation of nurses to care and be compassionate.
Awesome. And things have really changed in nursing over 25 years. So being able to stay on top of professional development is really important.
It is, because we want to make sure our students are going out with the best, knowledge base and the cutting edge technology, and make sure they feel comfortable with that. And I'm teaching in the pre-health program this semester, and I'm loving it. It's helping the next generation of healthcare providers in a variety of fields, not just nursing. So dental hygienists, med lab, biotech, paramedic, firefighter, there's a variety of opportunities. So, and they're just starting their journey. And so it's great to see that enthusiasm and passion.
Excellent. And you've taught in a variety of different programs then at the college kind of over time?
I have coordinated the CICE program, as well as I worked in the health information management program. I'm kind of a pinch hitter kind of staff member because I can adapt to different environments. So my managers have always been great about if there's an opportunity and they see a need, if they need me to help orientate a new coordinator or help a program get organized, they've asked me to step in and help out that team. So I like the challenge, and I get to meet more faculty and support staff, and it's been a good opportunity.
All right. And have you always been Kingston campus?
I have. I do work closely with the other campuses with a variety of projects and things like that, but Kingston is where I'm based out of.
All right. And what do you love about teaching?
I love making the light bulb go on for the students where they get that aha moment, and it just makes sense. The information connects to why it's important. And I find I get just as much from them that I'm hoping I can share with them as I get from them, because you go into the classroom and they're just, little sponges of information. They want to learn, and it makes me want to learn more. So, yeah, that's what I love about it. They're just amazing people to work with.
Do you have any stories kind of from over the years that you'd want to share?
Absolutely. I have a couple that jump to mind. One is unfortunately, my mom has been sick since April, and it's been quite a journey. And thank God she's doing better now, but it's been touch and go at different times. And the care my mom has received in our local hospitals, LNA County Hospital, as well as Kingston Health Sciences and Hotel Do, have been phenomenal. And I have to say that's because of our grads and the amount of students that I taught over the years and cared for my mom was amazing. Like, I was so proud, and they gave excellent care. So, and that's happened when I had surgery. I've had various knee surgeries and ended up waking up in recovery with my students from the past. The other thing is my students keep in touch over the years. They will contact me. I have students in BC, down east in the Maritimes, and their success stories is just, warm my heart because the sky's the limit. They've done amazing things out there to help society.
That's awesome. And we do a bit of a segue into talking about the union work that you do and kind of how you got involved with Local 417.
So the way I got involved, I've always been a union member, pretty much almost every job I've had. I've been I was a steel worker one time working at a nursing home because they were kind enough as an organization to take on this brand new little nursing home. And I've been CIU. I'm ONA as well. So I'm used to the idea of a union, and so it wasn't foreign to me when I came to the college. But I hadn't been actively involved on the executive or things like that until I was very supported. From when I was working sessional, there's something called a clause in the collective agreement. And if you work, 12 months at sessional, which is over 12 hours. So I was working 18, to be honest, up over 20 hours, contact hours for 12 months in a 2-month year period, or 2-year period, sorry. 12 and 24 is what it's called. Then there's justification for a full-time job. So the opportunity came up, there was enough documentation, and that's how I grieved and obtained my full-time job. This is how many are nursing faculty in the past gained their full-time positions because they worked so many hours. So it wasn't uncommon. And the support I received from our local Marianne White at the time was the chief steward, and she was phenomenal to me. I cannot say a bad word about her because she was so good to me. And so because she was so good to me during a time that was a little bit stressful, I never put a grievance in against any of my employers. Then I felt the need to give back. So that's how I got involved. And that's how some of the individuals got involved over the years, is because it almost a give back or a thank you, to see how important the work really is. So I think we were talking about it at the local executive meeting the other night. I think I'm the longest standing member at the moment. I went through the transition of multiple executives, and it's great to have new people on board. They bring new energy, new perspectives, but sometimes people's journeys, they go to other positions, they go to other jobs, they retire is usually what happens in a lot of cases. So, yeah. So anybody out there that wants to get involved, and we're always looking for individuals to come join the team.
All right. And you're the vice president. It's a role that you've had for quite some time.
It is. I've went into the vice president position when Jock retired. The vice president's role, depending on the local, has a different kind of tasks involved. Mine is usually membership engagement, membership facing is what we call it. So I'm not typically the one involved in writing grievances like Jillian, or Christina, dealing with directly with the managers, and on the union college committees. So at the moment, a lot of my work is membership engagement, reaching out, asking questions, gathering information, and supporting members when they have questions and are having some, situations that they need some help navigating. So that's where I find my strengths are. And we do try to play to our strengths on the team. So with the analogy of baseball with the World Series, I'm kind of the one that helps rah 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 and hopefully get people on board in our local.
And you've also got those pinch hit skills too that you bring forward to the union, which is amazing. I know that you also are often the person we see on our phone when we're heading into contract negotiations and talks, and you play a big role kind of at that critical point, perhaps when we're taking a strike vote or preparing for a strike. Do you want to talk about that a bit?
Absolutely. I find that maybe it's my skills as a nurse. I'm very comfortable talking to people and, asking questions, whether it's getting information about what their questions are. As a local, we want to make sure our members feel very informed to make decisions on the different aspects of the bargaining process so that if there is a strike mandate, a strike vote, any type of active participation, filling out a survey, things like that. On my phone, I try to keep things up to date. So if I need to ask a question when we're working on the standard workload forms relating to, as the previous podcast talked about, the College Employment Stability Committee, that I can reach out and I have a personal relationship with the individuals on the other end of the phone. So if I'm talking to them, I already know, so-and-so just had a new baby and, to ask about that, or so-and-so, their mother's been sick. So it's a two-way street. I'm here for them and they've been great to be there for me when I need information to be able to hopefully advocate on their behalf or do my job.
You bring a lot of that human connection to the work and where, a lot of us are maybe a little bit more reluctant just to kind of pick up that phone and call. You really are that kind of warm connection. We've got somebody who, people are building relationships with and folks across all three campuses, right?
I do, and thank you for that. That's a very high compliment. It's been great to meet people from all areas of our tri-campus community, and we're so lucky. We're just so lucky to have so many amazing, talented people. But I do think we need to remember that individuals are human and they're people, and the best thing we can do is be connected, so that if someone does need help or have a question, they're not suffering in silence. They do reach out. So being approachable is probably one of my biggest goals.
Let's talk a little bit about your work at the provincial level as well, because you do a lot of work there.
So there's been a variety of different things. I've been on the BAC, Bargaining Advisory Committee, and so that's to take back information to the bargaining team about how our local has been expressing, their concerns or their questions or how they're feeling about the current situation at that time. So that's during our bargaining. I'm actively involved provincially with the Save Our Colleges campaign. We had our rally outside St. Lawrence to try to, with multiple politicians and public figures there to try to show their support. In the media, there's a variety of things going on, whether it be rallies at Loyalist College because of the way the cuts have impacted their community. I'm in touch with the executive board members in our region of Region 4, as well as our divisional executive for CAAT. And when we go to divisional meetings, I know them on a first name basis. Our president JP Hornick and Lori, and they're the connections I've made, and so the opportunity to meet people and find out what's going on and what the next steps are, depending on the current situation, they're there. And the educationals are amazing for helping improve my personal growth, but also my professional growth and how to help our local be even more connected provincially, as well as making it run better locally. I also I founded the Provincial Nursing Caucus because we wanted an area that individuals could express themselves. There's a lot of nursing faculty out there, and we kind of work in silos because we're not everybody's on campus. A lot of our faculty are working solely, and that's something that's hard to. It's a bit of a challenge to get in touch with all of our non-full-time people because they're working on sites potentially not at the campus and a variety of hours, evenings till 11 o'clock, etc. So we're always looking for ways to try to reach out. And some of these summits and conferences are giving me ideas on how to bring it back and to improve that for our local.
Excellent. And you're also reaching out to district labor councils as well in the area.
Yes, we have a Kingston District Labor Council. We have our Kingston Area Council. There's Brockville as well. So, and Jillian does a Cornwall and Brockville. I'm just getting involved in that. But I did give an update about what's been happening at our college, Tri-Campus, and finding out what's happening in the community in other areas so that we can work together on strengthening those ties, advocating for change where we're hoping to have change, building community involvement. Something as, talking about where everyone is in their bargaining cycle. Ongwinata right now and developmental services is, in the middle of their bargaining, potentially working towards a strike. They had a very strong consensus for a yes strike vote. And even the nurses at Ongwinata in that area had 100%, I think it was, a strike mandate. I might have been 98, but I was pretty sure it was 100. So what do they need? You were talking about the strike preparation, something that in the 2017 strike, I helped kind of lead the Kingston campus strike for the 5 weeks. We learned a lot, and I'm hoping to share that with other areas. So it could be CUPE or whatever. I think it's really good to share resources and to let each other know what worked, what didn't work, to save people time and the pain of the growing pains. So I would say I'm kind of a logistical person, and that's what I was trying to bring to the table. So I did reach out, and I'm going to offer support if they need it, if they get to that point.
And also having connections kind of with labor in the community. A lot of our grads are going into roles where they're going to be working as labor in these communities. And when we're in a time of, hey, guess what? We're not going to be producing grads in that anymore. There's probably some of them that have been surprised by some of our program cancellations and things.
Well, it's very difficult to understand a situation where our grads are getting jobs. There's a need. So why are we not having these programs to help? The community college was they were founded to supply and help our communities with grads to fill the vacancies. And the vacancies are there and full-time jobs are there. The powers of be that are making the decisions, because of funding, it's very unfortunate that the current funding model does not have enough money to pay a domestic student, like with the tuition and the current provincial funding subsidy that they get. Our college is taking a loss on every domestic student. So domestic programs are closing. The child and youth care, those graduates, they are needed desperately in our community. Mental health and addiction programs in that area. There's tons of research and public spotlight on the need for that in our country, but these programs are being suspended. But we don't have a power at the moment to, we're not the ones making the decision maker, but we can bring light to it. So hopefully change can happen. And a lot of those provincial committees are trying to bring light, but our community partners, we need them out there saying, we need the grads. Squeaky wheel. Get out there and say, our companies and our organizations are going to be in trouble without grads. I guess my message to any of our members that are listening are to reach out if they have questions. There's lots of different sources. Get on our mailing list. We have an email that's fantastic. Our communication team, spearheaded Christina Chrysler, does amazing work to answer questions that come in. So even if you have a question, if you're having it, other people are having it. So it's the same thing in our class. We welcome input so that everyone can feel more comfortable. It is difficult times, but being informed is probably our best weapon to be able to navigate the waters moving forward.
What do you have to say to anybody who kind of thinks, if I talk to the union, or if I involve the union, if I even go and approach them about something, I'm going to get into trouble?
So I say, don't let fear mongering happen, because you were hired into a union environment. The collective agreement is a contract between management and the members, and it was agreed upon, through the process, through arbitration. It is a binding, it's not a bad taboo thing. It's just how we make improvements every 2 to 3 years. We discuss what we can improve. You can talk to a union a steward, and it doesn't have to go anywhere. They don't have to tell anybody they talk to you. It can be completely confidential. Now, if you want change to happen, sometimes that does involve grievances, or we have to go another step further about, depending on the situation. Sometimes the union local executive can't fix a problem without someone putting their name to it, or a group of people saying, this is not okay. It breaches collective agreement. We're willing to say, it's important enough to put our name to. And as we saw, recently, our during PD, we did not lose any of our 10 days of PD when there was a group grievance recently that, mandatory training. They can't take away your personally directed professional development days to do that mandatory training. And it was very successful. And no one should feel bad about it. It was a conversation. We worked through it. So yeah, it can be at any level. It can be completely confidential to get your information, or we can take it further if that's where the situation is and you agree to it, but in an informed way. The union is there to help give a voice, but we are the union. Like, we're all the union. It's not the executive. It's not us. It's we. So the stronger we as a collective can keep informed and connected, the better our local can do and grow and manage and adapt to whatever's happening in the environment at that particular time.
And now, another fun episode of Is It a Gripe or a Grievance?
Hey, Jillian. My manager has assigned me to be the program coordinator and is giving me 3 hours to coordinate because my program is so small. Can they do this?
It could be a grievance. The collective agreement clearly states that it is an hour for hour work. Now, do coordinators who get 10 hours work more than 10? Probably. And maybe on any given week, they don't work that amount. So I know it's a hard one, but the collective agreement does capture that you are to be given an appropriate amount of time for that work, regardless of how many students there are. Internally, not as a grievance, but as a policy complaint, we have our own internal process, which states this is the amount of hours and this is the number of steps you get for a variety of things. So if you have one program with less than, I think it's 200 students, you get 6 hours. If you go up beyond that, you get more time. If you have 2 programs, so on and so forth. That is an internal St. Lawrence document. And although we can't grieve it, we can do a policy complaint because they're breaking their own policy. With that policy complaint and the fact that the collective agreement actually does say it's hour for hour work, then absolutely, you can grieve it. What is more likely to happen is they'll just say, well, then don't do it. We'll give it to someone else. And this is where we need to stand up as a collective and say, I'm going to take it, but you're going to do it right, because I'm not going to offload this amount of work to my colleague who will just take it because they're young or they're energetic or somehow they think they're currying favor with managers, or they'll offload it to a part-timer who doesn't know any better.
You've been listening to Cat Tales, stories that matter to faculty and beyond. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Visit slcfaculty.ca and stay connected with us on social media.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the speakers and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policies, positions, or statements of OPSU, SEFPO, St. Lawrence College, or any affiliated organizations. This podcast is provided for informational and educational purposes only. While every effort is made to ensure accuracy, SLC Faculty Local 417 makes no representations or warranties of any kind, express or implied, about the completeness, reliability, or suitability of the information shared. Any reliance placed on such information is strictly at the listener's own risk. Music and sound effects used in this podcast are licensed or royalty-free. We respect copyright law and encourage our listeners do the same.